forecast first from the CBS 17 Storm Team.
Well, we managed to squeeze out another comfortable day today. Hope you enjoyed it because we've got a spring sizzle later this week. Good evening, I'm Wes Owenstein. Thanks for watching CBS 17. For the rest of the night, we've got a few clouds out there mixed in with some sun. Temperatures will stay in the low 70s where we were today. Then, after the sun goes down, we fall into the 60s, and then it's time to get ready for 80s and 90s. I'll tell you when the hottest day of the year, again, will return to North Carolina coming up in your forecast.
Now, local news that matters. This is CBS 17 News.
A missing 12-year-old girl tops the news at 5. She suffers from cognitive impairment and hasn't been seen since early this morning. CBS 17's Colleen Quigley is live tonight with this developing story. Colleen.
Well, Angela, so we are on Rannoch Court where we're told 12-year-old Plan Rama lives. You can see there are some police cars behind me. We've seen them in this neighborhood all afternoon searching for that missing girl. If we can, I want to pull up some photos to show everybody at home. So we talked to Plan's stepfather, and he says the last time he saw the 12-year-old was as he and her mother were leaving for work shortly after 6:30 this morning. He thought Plan was going to school at Durant Middle School, but they got a phone call from the school this morning saying that the girl never arrived. So Plan's stepfather says that's when he went out and started searching the neighborhood, even the library, but there was no sign of her. How is her mom doing? How is she feeling right now?
She's sort of crying, worried a lot, and she's at home right now.
Now, Plan's stepfather said that the 12-year-old missed several days of school last month, so there was some thinking earlier today that maybe she just skipped school, but there is still no sign of her tonight. It's now 5 o'clock. She's been gone for almost 12 hours, so the family is understandably very, very worried. Now, we are told that the last time anyone saw Plan, she had on a pink Adidas jacket and black pants, so if you think you've seen her, police are asking you to call 911 right away. Reporting live in Raleigh, Colleen Quigley, CBS 17 News.
And that description also on our website, CBS17.com. Attacked, robbed, and fed up, a Raleigh family is speaking out after a terrifying crime strikes the heart of their home. CBS 17's Amy Cutler is talking with that family. And Amy, they have a message for their attackers.
They do, Angela. The Wang family says they work hard for their money and that they believe that they're being targeted because thieves think that they carry cash with them. They tell me that's not the case.
Then they point the gun at my head and they said, "Do you want to live or do you want your money?"
Mrs. Wang, with the help of an interpreter, shares her terrifying account of a home invasion.
There was 3 men rushed me. They all have guns.
Mrs. Wang tells me she had a gun and they wrestled it away. It happened around 10:30 Monday night at her home on Salamander Court in Raleigh.
They put multiple zip ties on me, and it was really tight.
June Wang tells me he arrived home second. Like his mother, his hands and feet were bound, and he was dragged into the living room. They say the thieves knew they owned 3 local Chinese restaurants and demanded money.
They're forcing us to open the safe, but we haven't used that safe in years, so we don't know the combination.
June says his father came home next. He too was bound. The 3 were beaten. June tells me they had the cash they'd made at the 3 restaurants that day. He also had his salary from the last 6 or 7 months.
They think Chinese people has the custom to keep a lot of cash at home, but I want to tell them we don't do this anymore.
They hope that by speaking out, they can prevent this from happening to someone else.
Now, the Wangs say they bought that gun because they've been the victims of a break-in in the past, and they say it is part of a much larger problem. We're going to have more on why that is coming up at 6 o'clock. Live in Raleigh, Amy Cutler, CBS 17 News.
Amy, thank you. Cumberland County says it will not close schools on May 16th, but most of the districts seen in yellow on this map will be closed next Wednesday, so teachers can be at the Capitol on the opening day of the legislature. CBS 17's Sheena Elzie is live in Fayetteville. And Sheena, teachers are deciding tonight if they'll show up for class or march at the Capitol.
Right, that's right. Educators just started a meeting to talk about whether they'll go to Raleigh to protest. If they go, district leaders say they'll have to take a personal day because the schools here are not going to close. It's the exact opposite of what several North Carolina schools are doing. Districts like Wake County Public Schools and Durham Public Schools are giving teachers optional work days so they can go to the Capitol and protest in front of lawmakers for school funding and teacher pay, but not Cumberland County. District leaders say Cumberland schools will be open May 16th, the day of the planned protest. If Cumberland teachers go, they'll have to take that day off. The associate superintendent says they're watching how many teachers are asking for the day off to make sure there's enough substitutes. He says so far, quote, "We do not anticipate any issue with substitute availability." But the associate superintendent says they'll continue to monitor teachers taking leave, and that's part of the reason that educators are here now. They're talking about how they can take that leave, whether they're eligible, and if they're going to go to that planned protest on the 16th. Live in Cumberland County, Sheena Elzy, CBS 17 News.
Sheena, thank you. So what are parents supposed to do now that most of the area schools won't be open May 16th? Coming up tonight at 6, CBS 17's Kelly Kennedy is digging deeper to find the options that parents can afford. A disturbing crime alert. A Fayetteville mother accused of trying to squeeze her baby to death. CBS 17's David Hurst tells us Amanda Hughes now faces attempted murder charges.
Police say on 2 occasions, 31-year-old Amanda Hughes intentionally hurt her infant at this home on Ashton Street. The first time was in March when police say Hughes tried to kill the 3-month-old.
One of the things that really stands out is the mom actually took some of her fingers and she pushed into the back of the child's skull.
Then police say she hurt the baby again on April 23rd. At the time, the child's father, Alfie Champagne, and grandmother Mary Hughes had custody of the child. They're both now facing child abuse charges after police say they were aware of the abuse and failed to do anything about it.
We're dealing with a child that was 3 to 6 months old and the most helpless in our society. So we've got to do what we can to get justice in the case and try to get to the bottom of these allegations, but they're very disturbing.
A foster mother then gained custody of the child and took the baby to the hospital on May 1st after he started having seizures. At the hospital, doctors noticed the injuries and notified police.
So right now we are just hoping and we continue to pray that he will make a full recovery.
On Tuesday, prosecutors asked a judge to raise the bond for Amanda Hughes and Alfie Champagne. The judge accepted that request and doubled the bond for both the mother and father. And I'm told the child is out of the ICU and is doing better, but there's no indication as to what sort of long-term effects the child will face as a result of the abuse. Reporting live in Fayetteville, I'm David Hurst, CBS 17 News.
What a heartbreaking story, David. Thank you. A Durham man accused of rape and robbery is in custody in Altamont Springs, Florida. The U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force arrested Edel Rodriguez at a motel. Durham police say Rodriguez attacked 2 women in March when they were giving him a ride home. Right now, Rodriguez is in jail in Florida, waiting extradition back to North Carolina. Now, if there is something you want CBS 17 to get answers about, just let us know. You can call the newsroom at 919-835-NEWS or send an email at newstips@cbs17.com. Well, it is primary election day in North Carolina, and CBS 17 is your local election headquarters. We have crews all over the area, and so far, we've seen a light voter turnout. CBS 17 investigative reporter Richard Essex is live in Wake County. And Richard, I know the county is using new security measures, but have you heard of any issues so far?
Yeah, there have been a couple of issues statewide reported so far. There was an issue up in Halifax County where a couple of unaffiliated voters went in and tried to claim a Democrat ballot. Well, remember, North Carolina is an open primary state, so they should have been given those ballots, but they were turned away. But they have since been told they can come back and vote sometime today. Now, another issue that's getting a lot of talk here in Wake County and a couple of other counties is something that's going to involve timing. For the past couple of years, actually the past 20 years, Wake County and 4 other counties have been able to modem in their results from the precinct sites as the polls close. Well, that's coming to an end tonight. So effective immediately, all counties in North Carolina will have to physically bring the voting machines back to the county election warehouse where the data cards will be removed. Now, there have been some concern about breaches in that data, but so they will remove those cards in the warehouse, and then they will physically count them there. Now, I asked Gary Sims, who's the director of the Wake County Board of Elections, if he's heard of any data breach problems here in Wake County.
I have heard nothing that there has been an attempt or any issue with that. As a matter of fact, we can even show you that what we've done for the past decades has been, we get the results in that data, the unofficial data, is then cross-referenced with the actual tapes from the machine.
So what that means is when the polls close at 7:30, a lot of us are used to getting those results by 8:30, but they don't know when all the results are going to be in. But we do have another issue. At 5:30, there's going to be an emergency call from the state election board about an issue that might have happened at one of the precincts at a school up in Franklin County. We'll be listening on that. We'll have the latest for you on CBS 17 at 6 o'clock. In Raleigh, Richard Essex, CBS 17 News.
Be interesting to see what happens, Richard. Stay with CBS 17 News, your local election headquarters tonight. We'll bring you the results as soon as they start coming in, along with live updates throughout prime time. You can also find up-to-date results on CBS17.com and on the free mobile news app. Check out this aerial view of the lava in Hawaii. Experts say once the fissures open and the hot stuff starts flowing, it's best to not fight nature. Now, in the past, bombs were used to try and divert the lava flow, but that didn't work. Sometimes water is used to cool the lava and divert it, but experts say the lava still has to go somewhere. And it's the one thing to see the lava flowing from a distance, but look at this. What if this was your backyard? Isn't that scary? Homeowner went back to collect a few items from his home and found this just 30 yards away. Wow. Of course, authorities had to evacuate the area because that can produce poisonous gas. Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Wes Hohenstein here, our scientist, our expert. So what's the difference between lava flow and lava fissure?
All right, let's talk about that. First of all, we got to remember that all those islands were formed from volcanoes, so it's still going to be an issue. And we all know what lava is. It's the lava that flows and steams out of that hot molten rock that pour out into the earth during an eruption, right? Okay, its path is possible to predict since the flows are confined by topography. Kind of like a river flows, lava flows where it can go. Volcanic fissures, meanwhile, are the linear vents that usually are a few meters wide and several kilometers long through which the lava spews out from underground. They basically look like the cracks that open up in an earthquake that just happen to have lava oozing out of them. Even though geologists may know the general direction of which magma flows underground, it's impossible to predict when and where these fissures will appear. And they're not done with it yet, unfortunately, in Hawaii. Now, our things are not that bad here, but it's about to get steamy. I'll tell you when. Heat, humidity, and storms will be returning coming up a little later in your forecast. Angela?
Wes, good science lesson. I had no idea. Coming up at 5, a reminder about the sacrifice our soldiers make every day they put on that uniform. This is a beautiful story. Plus, a new coach for the Canes. That's next at 5.